This video is brought to you by Run from the Dark. So imagine you're going camping with your kid. You head out into the woods to have some quality time together, and when night comes, he just combusts into flames and gets taken by shadow people for not packing a torch. Welcome to Run from the Dark, an RPG where you live in a land where half the year brings no light at all. Fun. The developers reached out to us to review this game and said to be as honest as possible, and that we will. So enjoy the review. They were also kind enough to provide us with some copies of their books for us to give away to you. We're gonna be organizing a giveaway as soon as we receive these copies, so join our Discord below in order to find out how to actually apply to receive these copies. We're also gonna be sending you guys pre-production versions of these books, so there may be some errors in the writing, but that's what makes it limited edition. This RPG is set in a fictional world map, although you can make it be set in a similar country to your liking, like any municipality in Romania. You and your people live in towns and collectively prepare for the coming winters during the summer, because that's kinda the only time you're safe due to the light being present. You play as a walker, which is basically the book's equivalent to the post-apocalyptic couriers of Fallout New Vegas, where absolutely everything is trying to kill you. None of you know what the dark actually is, and they leave it up to your interpretation of what you want it to be. Feel free to make them shadowy football hooligans who beat you up if you go in there. They don't really care. Which is both bad and good in my opinion. I would have liked there to be something more concrete, because concrete or not, you can still change it if you want. They got a standard D20 system similar to D&D, but with a number of things that are unique, such as the corruption that slowly creeps on you if you keep making bad rolls. There's a lot of complications you can have characters run into if they get hit bad in combat or critically miss. Key part of the lethality in this book is the injuries you're able to sustain in combat, with times to bleed out and places you're injured noted. So if you set your world map to Birmingham, the shadows may opt to injure you via a punctured abdomen. I'd say they may have gone a little bit overboard with just the ways you're able to get poisoned, stabbed, crushed, diseased, and infected. Let the DMs come up with some of the stuff on their own, but from what I see, most of these do make sense for the consequences of the injury sustained. All of the towns have different light sources they use. You have your main stats that determine your character's strengths, and a number of classes that are able to accommodate your tastes, whether you want to be the D&D equivalent of a rogue to a bard. The classes are pretty thematic, but I won't go into specifics because I don't want to reveal too much about what they have. You can go get the book for yourself by backing Run from the Dark on their Kickstarter. Their Kickstarter will be down in the description below. The equipment in Run from the Dark is not about, oh, how can I get more loot to sell to the merchant? Every piece of gear is kinda important here. Weapons are imperfect and they feel just kinda like scrapped. Armor's practical too, but like in other TTRPGs, it also makes noise. And under regular circumstances, you say, ooh, a combat session. But the noise attracts the kind of things that don't really care what kind of armor you're wearing. Light sources are also a big thing here. Lanterns, corpse lights, glowfly jars, all of them have fuel, range, and burn time. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and your DM is saying you don't have much light left, he's saying that if you don't hurry up, it's probably gonna be a TPK. Magic items do exist, but they come in the form of relics, and the economy is strictly things that keep you both lit, warm, and alive. The towns are pretty much just a lore dump into what kind of economy they have and how they survive, so I'd be spoiling quite a lot if I give this segment too much attention. All you have to know is that the towns communicate with each other through the couriers called walkers during the winter and have their own population and way of illuminating the dark. There are 8 factions in this book, and all of them have their unique flavor. You have a range of factions that just want to survive, cults that want to make the dark consume everybody, or even factions that kinda remind me of the followers of the apocalypse, who want to heal everybody and want them to be unconsumed. Again, I won't spoil any of these factions, but I don't really see anything wrong about them, and you, as the DM, are free to add another Doomsday Cult number 32 in there as well. Alright, let's talk about the part of the game where you actually get to leave the town. The world between the towns is one of the key pillars in Run from the Dark. Every step you take outside the light is a gamble. You have travel broken down into 3 phases: preparation, journey, and arrival. Preparation is when your group argues over who's carrying the lantern, who's bringing the fuel, and who's bringing the food. The journey phase is where things have a good chance to fall apart, and you roll for endurance, navigation, and light management. Fail too many, and you start burning through oil, food, and sanity, faster than trying to convince a FIFA fan they're not playing a good game. If you're playing this with the right feel in mind, arriving should make your group feel like, hey, we don't actually need to use those backup characters. The Friends and Foes section covers every living, half-living, and unliving thing left in the world. It starts off with traders, pilgrims, and fellow walkers who might lend a hand, or steal your lantern the second you blink. What makes these characters shine is how it blurs the line between ally and threat. Every creature has a possibility of being either a friend or a foe. You don't really know, it's kind of a crazy place out there in the wilderness. And finally, we come to the section for the Watcher, or what most games call the GM. This chapter is about the atmosphere. The book walks you through how to run TTRPG horror correctly. Tension, silence, rhythm, and consequence. It explains how to describe the world through light and sound. There are rules for corruption, despair, death, and even hope. Not to punish the players, of course, but to make every victory feel hard-earned. When they survive the night, it's because they fought for it. It tells you more about building up tension by making the dark feel like a character in and of itself. If you're looking for a good indie horror RPG that's new and coming out, here's the book for you. Everything is consistent with everything, and the equipment feels like you're playing a true survival game where you're not really the heroes of the story, but you're actually just cogs trying to keep spinning in the whole machine. There are a ton of features that may be overwhelming for people who want to just jump in, and the minimalist approach might be a turnoff for some OCD people who need a ton of guidelines in order to have fun. You also need pretty good DMing skills and narrations in order to keep the tone set, because not everybody can pull off a horror set in a TTRPG game. But if that sounds like your kind of nightmare, this might be one of the best indie horror RPGs you'll ever play. If you want my overall review on this, I'd give it an 8.2 out of 10, because I particularly like the post-apocalypse setting, and it's one where I feel I'd really shine DMing in. And that's the review. Be sure to check out Run from the Dark on Kickstarter and let us know if you'd like me to check out any more indie RPGs and give them a look over and review. Be sure to join our Discord to participate in the giveaway. And to whoever's still watching, have a good one. It sets the tone and makes something like Environment feel very... None of you know what the dark actually is, and they leave it up to split fiction pichka ti materina.